The Boston Celtics front office finally broke their silence. Brad Stevens walked up to the podium to explain the most controversial trade in recent NBA history. The decision to send Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers has left the entire basketball world completely divided. Fans are demanding answers after watching a championship core get split apart. Stevens and lead owner Bill Chisholm faced the media head-on at the Auerbach Center. They spent nearly an hour answering intense questions about the blockbuster transaction. The goal of the press conference was to provide closure to a hurting fan base. It also revealed a massive shift in how the organization plans to build its roster moving forward. What pushed the Celtics to end one of the most successful eras in franchise history was a total pivot in strategy. The front office is changing how it operates under a brutal salary cap system. The current collective bargaining agreement is designed to destroy dynasties. It promotes absolute parity across the league without any sympathy for homegrown stars. The rules punish teams that draft well and reward their own players with massive extensions. Under the old system, teams could easily afford to keep their core pieces together. Stevens pointed out a major flaw in the current basketball landscape. Supermax contracts allow players to earn 35% of the total team salary cap. The rules do not offer any discounts for the team that originally drafted the star. Stevens suggested that the league needs a rule to help teams preserve their own talent. He believes Supermax players should only count as 25% against the cap for their original teams. That single adjustment would give front offices immense financial flexibility. Without that rule, building a sustainable roster across multiple seasons becomes nearly impossible. The financial penalties become too heavy for ownership groups to sustain. When the franchise captured Banner 18, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown were dominant, but they also accounted for 47% of the entire team's salary cap. That percentage was scheduled to skyrocket even higher in the coming years. At the exact same time, the league is experiencing an historically expensive tax environment. The financial strain is not just a result of rising player salaries. The overall salary cap has failed to rise at its typical 10% projected rate. A sharp decline in local television revenue has a great deal to do with this stagnation. Regional sports networks are struggling across the country. This massive media shift created a financial squeeze for basketball front offices. It played a primary role in the sudden choice to trade away a beloved franchise icon. Along with restructuring their salary cap sheet, the front office wants to change their style of play. They want to be much more equitable with the team usage rate on the court. Stevens conveyed that the previous path forward looked a little bit more challenging to his staff. He refused to be defensive about his basketball philosophy at the podium. Concentrating 70% of your cap space into two individual wings is a massive risk. It also concentrates a very high percentage of your offensive usage into just two players. The front office is making a definitive bet on strength in numbers instead. They want a more balanced attack that is much harder for opposing defenses to predict. This new direction will heavily empower point guard Peyton Pritchard. The coaching staff believes a decentralized offense will make the entire team more dangerous. The new system is centered around accentuating the elite skills of Jayson Tatum. It provides a platform for young talent to step up and capture larger roles. For young players like Hugo Gonzalez to develop, they need real minutes on the floor. Rookie standout Baylor Scheierman also requires consistent opportunities to grow. Athletic wing Jordan Walsh will finally get a legitimate chance to enter the main rotation. These young assets cannot improve if they are permanently stuck behind established stars. The front office is also placing a massive bet on veteran guard Derek White. White has struggled significantly to find his usual shooting rhythm over the past few months. Critics might argue that the organization is putting too much stock in advanced analytics, but his impact on the floor goes way beyond traditional box scores. During a regular season trip to Cleveland, an opposing coach praised his immense talent. Cavaliers head coach Kenny Atkinson declared White a top 5 player in the entire league. Imagine the absolute ceiling of this team if White sustains his elite play. He already performs at an all-defensive first-team standard every single night on the perimeter. If he returns to being a consistent knockdown shooter from beyond the arc, the system hits a new level. His perimeter spacing pairs beautifully with everything else he provides. His individual resurgence would go a long way toward maximizing this balanced approach. The coaching staff is incredibly excited about the versatility of the new roster. Stevens expressed great enthusiasm for the addition of veteran star Paul George. He believes the depth of the group will surprise a lot of skeptical analysts this year. The newly acquired draft capital provides the organization with incredible optionality moving forward. They now have the necessary assets to potentially reel in another big fish. There is immense internal optimism about this new tactical direction. More importantly, the front office now possesses the ultimate flexibility to adapt to future challenges. They can easily pivot and find a new star running mate for Tatum if this experiment fails. They are no longer locked into a rigid financial corner for the next 5 years. The timing of the blockbuster deal also raised a lot of eyebrows around the league. News of the massive trade broke just before 6:15 on the East Coast on July 1st. It was a seismic transaction completed in the absolute infancy of the free agency period. Many critics wonder why the front office rushed into the agreement so quickly. People are asking why Boston did not wait out the market for a few more weeks. They could have searched for an offer from a team outside their own conference. Holding out might have prevented them from strengthening a direct playoff rival. They will likely have to go through Philadelphia repeatedly to reach the finals. Stevens addressed this timing concern directly with the media. He noted that the availability of his star wing was absolutely not a secret to rival front offices. Organizations across the league had plenty of information to make a competitive run. They had every reason to submit their best trade offers immediately. The Celtics front office tried their absolute best to accurately assess the market. They wanted to evaluate the true future value of every incoming draft pick. Perhaps patience would have ultimately played out in their favor over time. But the executive team felt they had enough intelligence to suggest otherwise. They felt completely comfortable with the specific value returned in the Philadelphia deal. Other organizations had the exact same opportunity to step up and match that offer. The Celtics would have been absolutely delighted to send him to the Western Conference instead. But no Western team was willing to empty their asset cupboard for his services. Stevens acknowledged that trading a meaningful person to a direct rival is incredibly difficult. He has a massive amount of personal respect and admiration for his former star. The situation is made even tougher because Philadelphia just beat Boston in the postseason. The two teams will play each other 6 times before the playoffs even begin. Those matchups include 2 highly anticipated preseason contests. But Stevens emphasized that an executive must always think about their own organization first. You have to prioritize the long-term optionality that a transaction creates for your franchise. Personal feelings cannot get in the way of asset management. If the exact same trade package came from a team out west, the choice would be easy. You would naturally choose the western destination to keep him out of your conference. But that is simply not how the reality of the NBA market functions. You have to accept the best available deal regardless of the jersey the player will wear. Public outcry surrounding ownership motivation never held much water. Many fans assumed the trade was a cheap salary dump designed to save the owner's money. But the financial math of the trade completely disproves that popular theory. Paul George possesses a massive contract that includes a player option for next season. His current deal is only 1 year shorter than the contract extension of the departing star. While both players are on the books, the money is nearly identical. The idea of George getting salary dumped next summer is very hard to envision. The punitive rules of the collective bargaining agreement make those moves difficult. Lead owner Bill Chisholm answered questions about a potential financial mandate. He made it abundantly clear that the motivation was never about shedding payroll. He stated that the ownership group is completely focused on trying to win titles. He places an incredible amount of trust in the front office process. Chisholm believes Boston possesses the absolute best front office in professional sports. The staff put in the work and concluded this was the best way to win. The only mandate coming from the very top of the organization is to win championships. Ownership is fully prepared to spend whatever it takes to achieve that goal. There are lingering questions about how the process was handled behind the scenes. The former Finals MVP recently expressed his deep frustration on a Twitch stream. He stated that he felt completely disrespected by how the trade unfolded. He wished the front office had explained the developing situation to him more clearly. After spending a decade building his legacy in the city, he believed he was owed that. Stevens addressed these painful comments with genuine empathy. He explained that he went to great lengths to communicate with the player and his agent. The two sides had several open discussions about his future with the team. Stevens offered a sincere and public apology for how the star currently feels. He noted that the player remains a deeply meaningful person in all of their lives. The front office made sure his agent was well aware of every team showing interest. Even organizations with the most cursory interest were communicated clearly. Roster negotiations become incredibly complicated as things get further down the line. It is a stressful process that is very difficult to navigate smoothly. Boston did its absolute best to be upfront and transparent throughout the summer. Still, there is valid concern about how other players around the league view this move. Superstars possess an incredible amount of agency over where they choose to play. The front office must act swiftly if the franchise is perceived poorly. Chisholm emphasized that a negative player perception is completely unacceptable. He reminded everyone that the Boston Celtics represent a standard of pure excellence. The organization wants to maintain its status as the absolute best place for players to play. If the perception is broken, they will work tirelessly to fix it. Fans are also curious about how Jayson Tatum reacted to the massive blockbuster trade. Tatum has historically refused to put his thumb on the scale regarding roster moves. He places his ultimate trust in Stevens to make the right choices for the team. Stevens is a two-time winner of the Executive of the Year award for a reason. Part of his executive philosophy includes protecting his active players from front office drama. He wanted to shield Tatum from the emotional weight of this decision. Stevens operates under a hard, fast rule when navigating trade discussions. He never asks his current players about their thoughts on other active players in the league. He refuses to put his roster in that incredibly awkward position during negotiations. Because of this strict rule, Tatum had absolutely no input in the trade. Tatum and Brown spent 9 productive years sweating and building together on the court. There is obviously a great level of mutual appreciation between the two friends. Stevens did not keep him in the loop or call him the next morning. He did not want to force that heavy mental burden onto anyone in the playing group. The head of basketball operations joked about how little sleep he gets during the summer. He believes his players do not need to feel that same level of stress. With the core details of the press conference covered, it is time to turn the page. The franchise must move forward without one of its greatest homegrown heroes. What they lost in star power, they ultimately gained in financial optionality and roster depth. That asset flexibility is paramount under the current league rules. The team must now focus on the upcoming regular season gauntlet. They are fully expected to make good on ownership's singular mandate to bring home another trophy.